What's up, gamers? Hi, Descendants, and hello, Internet. Welcome back to another Sloop Gaming video and today's guide on how to farm Crystallization Catalyst inside the First Descendant. These catalysts are absolute game changers and perhaps the most important item to be farming in order to become more powerful. So, what do they do? Well, a quick inspection of my Ultimate Bunny's Descendant mod shows a few sockets which are stamped with a specific socket icon or socket type, such as malachite, xanthic, or rutile. Placing one of these mods into its named socket will reduce its capacity cost in half. An absolute game changer, as this allows for the placement of stronger mods inside the same socket or additional mods inside the build to make your Descendant even more powerful. Note, installing an energy activator can also provide for additional mod capacity of 20 points. However, 2 out of the 5 resources required to craft an energy activator, heat plasma battery and polyatomic ion particle, are only found inside the Hagios and Fortress fields, which are unlocked towards the end of the main story campaign. Players only need to advance as far as White Knight Gulch to acquire and farm all the resources needed to craft Crystallization Catalyst. Further, players can also increase their mod capacity by increasing their mastery rank, as well as by installing and enhancing the level of a charged sub-attack module, which provides for another 10 capacity points when maxed out. Okay, so where do we find what resources are needed for Crystallization Catalyst, and how do we farm them? But before we break all that down, if you're enjoying the First Descendant and want to stay up to date with TFD and watch more guides like this, then be sure to like this video and share with your friends. I also appreciate feedback in the comments and want to hear your thoughts on the topics discussed. Consider subscribing as well, as each new member increases the community's overall RNG substantially. Thanks. All item crafting and research is conducted via Magister Aeneas, who is located on the left side of the Albion map. Albion, for those unfamiliar with TFD, is the main social hub where players gain access to all NPCs and vendors. Simply approach her, select Research Request, Enhancement Material, and scroll down to find Crystallization Catalyst. Clicking on the catalyst will reveal an in-depth look at what research materials are required to craft, and hovering your icon over any of the 5 materials will offer another option to gather its acquisition info. Here, players will be given a list of specific activities where the material can be acquired. Further, when clicking on a specific activity inside the detailed list, players are shown where on the respective field or map location to go. FYI, another great tool for not only discovering what materials are needed to craft an item, but also where to find them, is by visiting the Access Info tab in-game. To be honest, this tab is a lifesaver for understanding what items are available to use and where to find them. Looking at the specific materials required to craft a Crystallization Catalyst and where to farm them is simple. Again, either through Aeneas or from the Access Info tab, we can see what we need. Starting from top to bottom, in order to craft a single Crystal Cat, which FYI takes 8 hours to research, we'll need 8 Murky Energy Residue, 22 Macromolecule Biogel, 8 Mixed Energy Residue, 18 Advanced Neural Circuit, and 1 Crystallization Catalyst Blueprint. Murky Energy Residue can be found inside the Sterile Land by completing either the Forgotten Tents or Unknown Laboratory missions. Macromolecule Biogel is found inside Echo Swamp after completing either the Muskeg Swamp or Derelict Covert Vulgus Strategic Outposts. Mixed energy residue is perhaps the trickiest of the materials to gather. Obtaining requires the completion of a minigame from encrypted storage boxes or vaults. However, you won't be looking for an actual box or room. Instead, you're searching for robots. We'll call them Bob, randomly spawning in fixed locations around the field of Agna Desert. 3 types of robots, or Bobs, can be discovered, with each requiring either a code analyzer, precision code analyzer, or ultra-precise code analyzer to gain access. Each Bob is shaded different, respectively, to identify its unique analyzer. Also, each code analyzer type is an RNG drop while completing mission activities anywhere in Ingress. The best farm for code analyzers would be any low-level mission to burn through. It's somewhat tedious, and the drop rates could be better, if not guaranteed in some cases, but whatever, for now, take your pick. But wait, the fun doesn't stop there. Finding Bob is still in order, and completing the associated minigame is the final test. The minigame is basically click when needle is inside a shaded area under a time limit. Pretty simple when interacting with base robot Bob when using a standard code analyzer, but that shaded field narrows to a sliver when using a precision code, and even worse when using an ultra-precise code. Further, precise and ultra-precise codes require multiple clicks to solve. The time penalty for mistiming your clicks is excruciating painful, and to make matters even worse, if you fail, then the code analyzer is gone. There are no do-overs with this awfully designed minigame, which is mandatory to acquire mixed energy residue. So, although I can't help you defeat Bob and solve the minigame, I do have some spawn locations I discovered to make finding Bob a heck of a lot easier. If I missed any location, or if you have any information on Bob's spawn timer, then be sure to share it inside the comments. Thanks. Here's a quick walkthrough of all the Bob spawn locations I found so far inside the Agna Desert. Starting at the north end of the field, inside the zone The Storage, Bob is located northwest of the tactical transport atop a beam. Moving clockwise and down, we find the Remnant, where Bob is found left of the spawn, down inside the tunnel at the end on the left. Next is Vermilion Waste, where Bob is located left of spawn, down inside a secret hole. I believe I also found Bob just north of the spawn point, but it could have been a mirage. Speaking of Mirage, in Mirage Stone, Bob is located north of the tactical transport inside a cave. And lastly, the mining site. You can use either spawn point and then head towards the top of the zone. Bob will be atop the beam where the RK Echo is discovered, or on the beam just below it. I also wanted to provide a quick example of how to use your Descendants eSIV device to locate Bob. You simply need to be in range, and when pointed towards Bob, you will hear a distinctive ping. The closer you get to Bob, the louder the ping. Next we have Advanced Neural Circuits, which are straightforward to find. Just load into the White Knight Gulch field and complete any mission. Lastly, to acquire the Crystallization Catalyst blueprint, you'll need to use an amorphous material pattern after beating a boss from a Void Intercept battle or completing a Void Fusion Reactor event. I prefer to simply load into Kingston and run the Slumber Valley mission. Amorphous material pattern 003 is a 100% guaranteed drop, and in most matchmaking group play, should take 5 minutes or less to complete. This is significantly faster than going the route of a Void Fusion Reactor, where the amorphous mat drop is linked to RNG. However, RNG will still rear its ugly head once Amorphous Material Pattern 3 is acquired, because in order to unlock the pattern for the Crystal Cat, you'll need to access a reconstructed device only available after completing a Void Intercept battle, which in this case is Gravewalker. Drop chance is only 15% for the Crystal Cat, but considering how easy the patterns are to acquire and melt the boss, you should have plenty of blueprints in no time. Now, at this point in the game, unless you're playing with a group of low-level neophytes, defeating the first Void Intercept boss, Gravewalker, should be an insta-kill after loading into the activity. If you are struggling, however, then be sure to spend some time with Seneca, the Intercept battle vendor, to identify Gravewalker's weak points and resistances. Equip and mod your weapons at Descendant accordingly, and you should have no problem afterwards. FYI, there's also shape stabilizers, which can be acquired from zone missions, specifically via infiltration operations, for a guaranteed stabilizer drop. Players can also run special operation missions, but stabilizers are not guaranteed and have a drop rate anywhere from 1 to 8.5%. Shape stabilizers enhance the drop rates of items inside amorphous patterns, such as by 5% with the Crystal Cat blueprint from pattern number 3. Note, specific stabilizers are used on specific patterns. However, these enhanced rates are nominal, and to my knowledge, never exceeding a 5% buff. You can also acquire a shape stabilizer from Zone Recon Strategic Outpost missions with a drop chance of 0.4%. So yeah, there's that. Well, there you have it. Everything you need to know about Crystallization Catalysts and how to farm this absolutely game-changing item. Be sure to like, share, and comment if you found this helpful, and consider subscribing for more TFD content. Also, feel free to join my Discord, where we're building a positive gaming community. Thanks for watching, Descendants, and I'll see you in Albion. Thank you for watching. Likes and shares are kindly appreciated, and subscribe for more content. Peace.